The ghost light, a single bulb left center stage after each performance, has traditionally served as a supernatural offering to those who came before us and those we have lost, to ensure that the theater, their theater, never goes dark.
That the magic of theater continues. Theaters from Broadway to the West End, Los Angeles to Savannah may be closed for now, but their ghost lights remain lit.
Our spirits remain hungry, our responsibilities clear. We look at this as an opportunity, a chance to build on the work we've done.
A chance to embrace our theatrical roots and create new adventures.
What we do now paves the way for the years to come, for the Savannah rep of the future.
We promise that the ghost light will burn brightly until it is safe to begin again.
It is our responsibility to carry on the traditions that precede us. We are Savannah Rep.
A home for great stories and great theater. The hands of the clock will move again, and this is not the end of the story.
It's a new beginning.
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 And we'll see you soon.
Do we have places? Okay. Do you need me to page them? Okay, thank you. All right, and checking in with the conductor. You all set? Have a good show, Maestra. Any places? All right. Let's do this. Have a good show, everyone. Stand by house to half and house out. House to half. Go. Lights 2 and house out. Go.
Friday, 5 p.m. I messed it up again. It's 5 p.m. on Friday. I'm going to get that entrance right. It keeps the video ends and it goes to that picture and then like 3 seconds of negative space and then I come in. Next episode, I'm going to nail that. Episode 11, count on it. I'm going to get the entry of the episode correct. Hi, I'm Ryan McCurdy. This is my name. I'm so happy to see you on another Friday at 5 p.m. Those eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed that last week's episode was a premiere, but it was not live, as I was driving when it aired. Probably shouldn't tell you all my secrets, but that's one I feel comfortable sharing. Hope you enjoyed a look back at some of our favorite guests, though we could not feature all of our favorite guests from the first 8 episodes. Crazy to think we've been doing this for 2 months, especially since I thought we were going to do this 2 or 3 times, but for those of you following the show, you may or may not know that I promised a local news station that I was going to do this show until we were in rehearsals again. And as that now looks like it may be further away than I thought, we're going to be doing it for a while. So if you have ideas for guests for this show, please email whatsup@savannarep.org. Because while I am blessed to know a lot of really wonderful people, we're probably going to do this show for a while. So if you have an idea for someone that would be an interesting guest, they can be in any type of storytelling. They can be in any type of the theater arts. I would love to meet them. I'd love to chat with them. I'd love for you and the Savannah community to get to know them as well. So whatsup@savannarep.org. Eagle-eyed viewers will also notice that I am, as usual, in my blue shirt today. And I want to point out that today's hair and grooming style work is done by Emergency Water Shutoff. That's right, Emergency Water Shutoff. When you want your water to look like a middle school production of Thoroughly Modern Millie's Bourbon. I was not going to put this in my hair. I don't think anyone should put this in their hair. This Emergency Water Shutoff was supposed to be over several hours ago. Is it? Emergency Water Shutoff, when there is no expectation for when your water will return. All right, enough of that. It's time to go from the monologue that I did not prepare straight to our first guest. But I have a video to show before I bring our first guest in, because this is a video that I have watched many times, because this is also one of the first songs that I ever heard by our first guest. And it is one that has really, really, really resonated with me ever since the first time I heard it. It underscores the video you're about to watch. I'll let the video speak for itself, and then we'll come back and talk to its composer.
The parties downstairs got too loud. Everyone would come around. Leo and I would hide in this room and imagine our stories. And then a face, a little face, riding. A little face peers around the door. Grisha, my boy. No, it's just the girl and the other girl. He was 7 years old. The poison, the man in Paris. All the water rushing through Grisha's room. Grisha in lavender and white. Grisha.
I could listen to that 1,000 times and not get tired of it. A reminder to our viewers that if you'd like to chat with our guests and ask questions of them, I can see your comments on Facebook and YouTube. For instance, this one that came in while we were watching that video from Kelsey Shepard, who says, I just absolutely love this. Kelsey Shepard, you are right. I absolutely love this too. Our first guest is a composer, lyricist, actor, and a dear friend. Please welcome Emily Gardner Xu Hall to the show. Hi.
Hi, that was so kind of you.
Well, yes, I mean that was Kelsey's sentiments. I mean she is right here, but was also listening through the speakers. So.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Kelsey.
How are you? How's everything in your world?
I'm good. You know what? It's difficult. Gosh, I mean the theater is gone, so I don't know if I'm actually good. But
I'm not good. I'm not good either. Let's just call it like it is. I don't think any of us are good.
No, I mean, when you had that lovely clip of the stage manager character, I almost cried then. And when she said house to half, I was like, oh.
Had you seen that before you saw it just now? Oh, then you were getting it for the first time. Sherry very kindly said that we could use that at the top of the show for as long as we wanted. And I remember it had gone viral because I think American Theater Wing had shared it around at some point. Wow. And I remember I just sat there and I was like, I'm immune to this stuff. And then I just started sobbing. So
there's something about stage managers. It just makes you think everything's going to be okay. It's like a stage manager is like a mum that you're allowed to have, like for the rest of your life. And you're also allowed to sort of switch temporary mums, so like, you know.
But they all come from the same. But they all come from the same sort of source. They like you know that whoever you're traded to for a while is going to be just as good and just as perfect.
That's exactly right.
And it's going to hold you just as tight theatrically.
Would that I had a really, really great stage manager.
Well, I've been thinking about that a lot too, because I mean, what's going on with the unions right now? There's a lot of conversation about what stage management, what the role is that it plays in this arena, and obviously, I've done some stuff since the pandemic started. We've done some Zoom type stuff that had a stage manager, and we've done some stuff like the show, which is just me, running it on StreamYard. And it's amazing that as soon as you have a stage manager, even for a Zoom call, you feel better, and somehow it always goes more smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
So Emily, I want to talk about how amazing you are, because I think a lot of our Savannah audience may not be familiar with you, and I want them to know who you are and what you do. When did you, what's sort of your personal journey to becoming a composer? And were you on stage on the boards first, or were you writing first? I mean, I know some of the answers to these, but I'd love to hear them from you.
Yeah, well, it's lovely to meet you. I would love to visit. I mean, that sounds beautiful. I've Googled some images from there, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, so I started writing musicals in 2016. And prior to that, I had trained as an actor, and I was only working as an actor. But prior to that, prior to training as an actor, I had never been an actor at all. So it was like the big left turn of my life was training to be an actor, not really writing. I had studied music and English literature with poetry in undergrad, and I trained as an actor at NYU. So it was like very highly academic program at Wellesley, and then like highly drama conservatory at NYU. And then prior to college, I really thought that I was a composer. But so what I really think happened was that I lost all my confidence repeatedly. So where one area of my writing or my expressing myself would move, I would push it down and it would just pop up somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, the first time I was published as a poet was when I was 9. And the first time that I won a composer award was this commission I won when I was 15. So it was just this kind of thing of like, when I was not feeling confident in my poetry, I would write music, and then that would happen. And then I was like, oh dear, well, I'm not going to be Stravinsky, so I better stop composing. Then I became a poet. And then, then I became an actor, and it really, really opened things up for me, acting, because I started working on the tension in my body, actually. And because I started thinking about what it is to be an interpretive artist, which is what I had been as a classical pianist, but I hadn't really had enough, I had never given myself enough musical agency as a young person. I think because I was quite diminutive, basically. So it was really just turning, after all of that, after having done a little bit of poetry, but never really committed professionally, and then having like trained with some amazing poets, but I was like, no, like poetry doesn't pay. So I went to the extremely lucrative acting field, which of course paid me millions. And then just sort of fusing everything into musical theater. So it's my theater taste, it gets to be my poetry, I get to write music, I get to arrange for multiple instruments, I get to write a big idea, so I can write not just like a little slim chapbook, but like a big idea and really interrogate it and put it on stage. And also make a big event that everyone can come to and celebrate, you know? I think everyone loves music, and I think music is the one thing that you can't argue with.
No, it's impossible.
Because it vibrates you. It's made of frequencies. You're supposed to be subject to it. And I think it's beautiful in that way.
I like the word you just used in the interrogate. That the idea of interrogating this concept until it reveals the answers you're looking for. Because I was going to say, I think the video that we just watched of Untitled Cherry Orchard Musical, which has been more recently renamed, is now Cherry Orchard, or is it still the full title? Or I want to be fair, and I'm trying to remember what it is right now.
Oh, you're just being really kind. I honestly, but this is the question. The central question of Cherry Orchard is, why should it be called Cherry Orchard? Should it or not? Because it's not actual Cherry Orchard at all. So I'm still in two minds. We'll wait until they give me the millions of dollars to produce it on Broadway.
That's right. And then from your lips to upstairs. The video that we just watched is from the production from the first time I saw it, which was its sort of first workshop iteration. Because I remember seeing Angel in the Angel was in the freeze frame, and I remember going, oh, I know this production. I saw her do this.
That's awesome.
So think about interrogation. You use a lot of different genre feels. You use a lot of sort of juxtaposition, a lot of really cool musical counterpoint to really sort of dissect what you want to talk about from the story of Cherry Orchard. Have you ever always been confident genre hopping in your musicals, or is that something that you sort of evolved to solve a question you had for yourself? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's just about the question of what this piece is about. That's the thing I come from. The first question I have is, what is this piece about? So I have another show which is set in a Japanese maid cafe in the 2010s, and that score is EDM. It's entirely EDM. It's got like really fun like bass lines, and it's got a live band, and should be like, it won't work if it's not Ronald Ableton, that kind of a show. Right. That's gonna be really crazy for those people who know me as a string arranger. But yeah, but that show comes from, because they're basically a girl group, like an amateur girl group, who perform in this cafe as anime characters,
which I love. and that's a piece I haven't gotten to see, but I've heard selections. I'm trying to think what of that has ended up online, because I'm trying to, one of the things with the pandemic and going back and trying to catch up on everybody's like current work is that you're tracking like titles of things to what they're from. So is there a song available that, for instance, our audience could listen to that is from that yet, or are you keeping it all sort of comprised until you're able to do a full staging?
Well, what I'm doing essentially, I'm trying to not put too much money into something before it's fully cooked, basically. So Maydot is not entirely finished, but it's on my SoundCloud in demo forms. So people can definitely enjoy the demo forms. They're just not perfectly polished, and they don't have big stars singing it. They just have me singing them. So as long as that's not disappointing, I think it'll be really fun. There's a song that everybody loves when they hear called Perfect Because I'm Real from Maydot, which is a song about, it's this kind of central theme of the entire show, which is that it's about the performance of femininity for the male gaze. So she's saying, I'm real, and then she's talking about the things that she's real like. She's real like this, she's real like this. But of course we know the whole time she's singing to us, this is not real. This is not real. She has created this performance for us. And when it gets on stage, which it will happen, when it gets on stage, it's going to be in some way interactive with the projections or light design. And they're going to not be just dead projections. They're going to be like actor motivated. So she'll be interacting with the pixels. So during that song, she's going to kind of emerge, and then we're going to see her duet with herself. So anyway, should be very fun.
It is going to be staged because Eric Bishop has said, that sounds wild and fantastic, and EDM anime musical. I'll buy a ticket now.
Yay! Fantastic.
So
I was thinking about having a workshop, but I'm a little wary of Zoom, because it's so difficult to get the sense of who's in the room and who feels what way for what reason. But I don't know. Maybe I'll do a workshop.
If you have room in the Zoom room when you do it, I would love to be there.
Yes.
I want to talk about an award that you won very recently, because the story of it is so beautiful, and there's a video of it, but I'd much rather hear you tell what happened. Now, obviously, to our audience, an award, a namesake award that you have received is the Jonathan Larson. Which year was 2018 or 2019 was your Jonathan Larson award? 2019.
So just before everything ended, which is an ideal time
to be riding high.
Yes, I highly recommend emerging into nothingness.
That's the title of a show. Emerging into Nothingness by Emily Gardner Xu Hall.
Story.
But so obviously Jonathan Larson, composer of Rent, and his family has set up this trust and this award that's run through the American Theater Wing, and that actually was one of my first introductions to any theater in New York, was going to those awards in I think 2013. So when you won one, I was even more excited, because it had always been to me something that sort of meant, you know, the people making the things that were going to change everything, and you are making that kind of work. So when you won one, I was like, this makes sense. I want to talk about the Lily, though. Here is a picture of you receiving your. It's an inaugural award from the Lilies, and I want to talk about who those people are behind you. How did this come to be, and what happened at the ceremony? Because I love it.
Wait, show the picture up.
I will. There
one more time. Okay, so you can see on the right. On the right, that's Ed Iskander.
Oh, let's just praise him for a second.
Yes, and he's the one who flat out lied to me for months. He was the trickster, and then to his left is my tiny little mother, who flew from London with my father, who is standing next to her.
Yes.
And then just, you know, wonderful family and friends, and partner is everyone else. So so what happened was, this is 2018, and I oh my God, I don't know how much of the story you want to hear.
I want to hear enough of the story that we feel like we heard it completely. I don't know. I just want to hear the story. I don't know.
Okay. So on this particular evening, Ed said, you should come to this award ceremony. Ed, who's on the right.
Yes, I'm just going to keep showing the picture when you say Ed, because I think that's awesome. Yeah. Makes me feel like I'm stage managing the show, which I am not.
That's awesome. Well, you do give me the sense of security that I'm stage managing.
Thank you kindly. That's what my training. That's what my original training was. So.
Really?
Yeah, but it's not my show. It's not my show. So please continue.
Gosh, I didn't realize that many stage managers could have such acting talent. That's crazy.
Surprisingly, I did this, not to derail your story, I promise, but I saw an event, this is maybe 5 or 6 years ago, where a group of equity stage managers did monologues, and it was breathtakingly good. Wow. It was breathtakingly good. There's a lot of talent in a lot of forms.
Untapped resources.
Yes.
We got to get them out there.
We got to. That's our new mission, Emily. That's going to be our pandemic cause.
We should write a pandemic stage managing musical.
That's a really good idea. Please continue your story, though.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So this is 2018, and I was supposed to be in 3 different places at once on the same night. One place I was supposed to be was at this award ceremony, which Ed had said, you should come here because I really want you to meet Adam Guan. Adam Guan wrote Edges and is just a fantastic everything writer, beautiful composer, and just huge idol of mine. So he was like, I really want you to meet Adam Guan. And I was supposed to be in this class, and I was also supposed to be performing in a concert at Joe's Pub at the same time. So those 3 things were all supposed to be happening, and I was booked, like triple booked, by not really by accident, just by sort of force of things. So I said, look, Ed, I'm really sorry, but this award ceremony, it sounds like it's just, I don't know, maybe I can meet Adam another time. Like, thank you so much, but I can't make it. And also another thing, Ed said, you have to buy a dress. You have to wear a really nice dress to this event. And I said to him, I really can't. I can't afford it. I really don't feel like getting a dress just to meet Adam Guan. Okay, so like, thank you so much, but like, I'm gonna meet Adam Guan hopefully one day.
But this is not the time and not the place.
No, not the time, not the place. I just lightly pushed the class question aside and just pretended that wasn't, just because, you know, I'm in a larger class, it's BMI, and I was thinking, it's, you know, my classmates will forgive me if I'm not there for that. So I was like, Joe's Pub, all about Joe's Pub. I'm going to be performing my song. Like, I'm going to kill it. So I'm like rehearsing the song. Ed sends me an email that's like, you are being unprofessional if you do not come to this award ceremony with me. Like, he writes me the most angry Asian father email I have ever seen. It scared the ass out of me. I was like, I don't even know what to say. Like, maybe Ed doesn't think I'm a professional. I was like really, really scared. That email was terrible. So I emailed my friend, who's a beautiful singer, Caroline Kaplan. And I said, can you sing this song at Joe's Pub? I promise you I will be there. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the award ceremony. I'm not going to buy a dress. I'm just going to rent a dress. and you're gonna sing the song, and I'm gonna try and get there by 7 p.m. because that's when the concert starts. So she like is kind of weird about it, and she's like, "Oh my God, Emily, yes, I will sing your song." And I was like, "Okay." Like, you know, she sings all the time. She's a great singer, and it's not a surprise that I would have her sing my song. She's like really, really excited. And I was like, "Great, awesome. All right, well, I don't know if I'm going to make it." And she's like, "It's okay if you don't make it." And I was like, "Okay." All right. So I go to the awards ceremony. I'm wearing a $100 Rent the Runway dress. Just gonna keep throwing the dress. I was happy with it. I was also happy I only spent $100 on it. And I'm sitting next to Ed, and there are all these incredible speakers. Sarah Rule goes up on stage, and like one of my favorite roles that I've ever played in my whole life was Eurydice. So I was just like, I was dying. I was trying to write down what she was saying in my notes on my phone. And interestingly, I was live tweeting this awards ceremony because it's the Lily Award for Women in Theater. So I wanted to be like, look at these women killing it. Like, you're talking, like, Lily Award winners are like Lynn Nottage. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like the top tier of like theater anyway. Like, regardless of being female or not, just the top tier of beautiful creators. So Sarah Rule is talking, and I'm live tweeting. I'm like, "Sarah's saying blah 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 blah," and Ed's like, "Can you chill?" The other thing that is, I looked around and I was like, people are really not dressed black tie like you told me, Ed, and so I actually got upset at Ed because I was like, "Why did you make me spend this money? Because not everyone is as dressed up as I am. I feel uncomfortable." And then at the end of the whole ceremony, and there's no programs or anything. At the end of the whole ceremony, Julia Jordan, this incredible playwright, one of the founders of the Lily Awards, she stands up there, and I thought she said my name, and I just didn't. I didn't register it. And then Ed is yanking on me, and my dress is rented, so I cannot be ripped out of a seat. Like, I'm like, "Ed, watch the dress. Like, I have to return this." And he drags me on stage, and it felt like I had maybe died or gone to heaven or something, because my parents, who were in from London, and my best friends from college, and various people from different parts of the country, and some of my closest friends in New York, and some wonderful people I know, just like all these people had been hiding backstage. They all walked out and were standing in a semicircle like angels. And I was like, "Oh, I'm definitely dead. I'm for sure I'm dead." And then she gave me an award, and I had no idea. This is the first award that Stacey Mindich has given to a female musical theater writer. So she's given Go Write a Play awards every year. This is the first Go Write a Musical. And I had no idea that anyone knew me at all. I had not applied for anything. So it turns out that they picked me because people were like, "Who do we need to know about?" And then I met Adam Guan.
I think that's the moral of the story. The Ed. I did not know the part where Ed was like guilting you into this by like harking upon Adam.
It turns out that all of my friends were in on it for months.
I love it.
And they'd all been emailing, and Ed had prepared this book of all these people saying, "We're so proud of you," if they couldn't make it. And that all my friends had been lying to me for months, and it was the happiest lie I've ever had.
So the moral of the story is, when all of your friends are lying to you, something really good is about to happen.
Yes.
Emily, I could talk to you for 6.5 hours, but the show is not that long. So I'm going to have to say goodbye to you, which makes me sad. But we can also just get on a Zoom in the future and,
Oh, I can't wait. Yeah, I'd love to catch up more.
But I want everyone to know your name, know your work, know that you are on your way up and making incredible stuff. And I'll see you really soon.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I'm so happy you were here. Thanks.
Good luck. I'm so excited to hear that you guys are making stuff still.
We're trying. We're figuring it out. We are figuring it out. And I'll talk to you very soon.
Bye.
Bye. That is the amazing Emily Gardner Xu Hall, whose name is still there. I'm not Emily. I'm Ryan. And we will be right back after this message from not our sponsor with Bliss Griffin.
This is Princess Adora, sister of He-Man, and her gentle horse. Each sold separately, you can pretend.
She's lovely as a flower, but she has a secret power. A magic sword in one stroke, and she's got the strength of a tower. She wrote Princess of Power. The fate of the world's in the hands of one beautiful girl. Princess of Power.
She-Ra doll Princess of Power comes with everything you see here. Swiftprint horse sold separately, new from Mattel.
My next guest is an administrator and a performer who I have known for quite a long time, and our journeys have taken us. This is the circuitousness of our journeys. I'm excited to find out where her journey has her today. Please welcome to the show, Bliss Griffin. Hi, Bliss.
Hi, Ryan. How are you?
I am very well. How are you?
I am good. I am, surviving the pandemic and trying to make myself useful and supportive to my peeps, to my industry, and reminding myself on hard days that this is mission driven and this is also what you asked for. So,
I think that the first part I've been able, even on bad days, I can remember that this is mission driven. The second part is there are days where I kind of feel sad and sorry for myself, and I'm like, why is this happening to me? And then it's always having to remind myself that I did ask for this. I asked for this life. I asked to be in a career that is entirely reliant on people breathing the same air. These are all things I wanted.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to watch the ways in which, we have both in different ways moved into administration on a calendar, which was, because I'm thinking about your current role was you had stepped into before the pandemic, if I'm not mistaken, or was it right at the beginning of the pandemic?
I came to Actors Equity in March of 2019, so exactly a year before the pandemic.
And that's about the time I was joining. That was right when I was joining the board of Savannah Rep, which was it was so interesting to realize that there was a job I could still do while there were all the jobs that I couldn't. So I've been very grateful for that. But
yeah.
So I would love to hear, one of the things I just asked Emily about this earlier in the show. I'm wanting to talk to people about their individual journeys. I would love for you to sort of talk about how you got to New York, and I would love for you to talk in as much as you are comfortable with about what you are currently doing with the union, and sort of what that day to day is like for you in your pandemic experience.
Yeah, sure. Before we dive into that, I will offer that this is a conversation between me and my pal Ryan. I do not speak on behalf of Actors Equity Association today.
That is correct.
That's
yes, we are talking about it in terms of what you do from 10 to 5, but it is now 5:33. So yes, please continue with that very clearly.
So I grew up in Oakland, California, and I was a little ballet baby, and in my infinite teenage wisdom, I thought, well, musical theater is going to be a career with a whole lot more longevity than ballet. So that's what I'll do. I went to the University of Miami, where I was not able to audition my first year for the conservatory program, so I went as a general theater studies major, just the Bachelor of Arts. And in that year, I discovered that all of the things that your body is trained to do to be a professional caliber dancer makes singing a little difficult. The exact opposite use. So I ended up studying acting and worked on the side, worked a work study to pay for my own voice lessons. And I had a pretty awesome time while I was there. Although, right, this is 10 years ago, so now it's awesome. It was definitely hard work.
Right. With hindsight, it has become progressively more awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
I went right out of school to the National Tour of Curious George Live. Did that for a year. I spent a year at the Alabama Shakespeare Festival. I came back to New York and then started bouncing all over the regions. Won a little Barrymore Award out there. And at some point, I discovered that the type of theater art that fulfills me is not necessarily the most lucrative, right? And I think at that point, the union put me in like the 97th income percentile, which in terms of percentiles, it's like, whoa, you're doing good. But I'd say only the 99, right, are actually making the kind of comfortable living wage that I wanted. And so I was like, okay, I can't just limit it to the kind of art that I'm into and survive here. So I got to make a shift. But what the theater does for the society at large is just so vital to me that I thought, how can I stay in this industry? How can I support this and still have what I want? And so I spent like a year with myself, crying because I didn't know who I was and I was not going to be an actor anymore, which like, stop, you guys. And then I got over that and I was like, okay, well, what lights you up? And I'm really, really interested in human social relationships. I'm really interested in business strategy. And I, in the 10 years that I spent acting, realized that I'm pretty tired of watching artists not know how to stand up for themselves in their employment relationships. And after a lot of research, I discovered that like that's a human resources kind of view of the world. That's I hate the term human resources, but like people analytics, how do you take care of your best resource kind of worldview. So I went and I got an MBA from Fordham University. And that's what I studied, general management, and as much HR as I could get in. And then one day I got a phone call saying, I need an administrator for the diversity and inclusion department at Actors Equity. I've seen you teach these members, and I think you're the right person for this. So that's how I showed up here. And my days now look like serving our staff, right, by helping them to understand how issues of inclusion or the lack thereof are related to member services and contract administration and that kind of thing. I serve members, right, by teaching them about their rights and responsibilities as employees and how diversity and inclusion affects them at their workplace, right? Because the average inclusion training where theoretically your job should have nothing to do with your protected characteristics kind of doesn't fit for us. So I teach members about that. And I also work with employers, right, and consult with them and help them to understand how not just the actor and stage manager facing verticals of their business affect inclusion overall, right? It's not only about how you cast, what plays are you choosing, who's on your full-time staff, how are you marketing, how are you nurturing rising playwrights. So yeah, that's in a nutshell.
That's great.
What I do all day. And then in the evenings, I'm studying at Fordham Law. So
it's just an incredible journey, which is so inspiring to me. Something that I had seen in your resume, but I wanted to chat about is you were doing general management training or had just finished general management training. And equity. Did equity sort of come as a burst out of the blue, or was it something that you had been sort of thoughtfully pursuing, or was it a surprise? Or
I was a really active member when I was working under those agreements. And that meant participating in the Equal Employment Opportunity Committee. And some years ago, that body of members was putting together programming, like events for the year, member education events. And they were like, Bliss, you kind of know stuff about how racism shows itself in our society at large and in our industry specifically, and what powers we have to counteract that. You should teach a workshop in the season for that year. So I did, and that was kind of the end of it. That was about the time that I was making a career transition. And then I went on with my life. A few months after that, the Diversity and Inclusion Department was started. So that was kind of cool, but I also was like, so busy with my life as a full-time student, I wasn't really involved with it. So the February before I graduated, those same members called me again, and they were like, we know you're not in the mix anymore, but can you teach this again, but with a different lens? So I guess the first time I showed up, we were talking about how does race-based marginalization happen in the theater, and that February of 2019, they were saying, talk to us about how we can use our contracts to combat that as individuals. And I was, honored to be remembered because
anytime that happens, it's a joy. Yes.
Yeah. I was like, the theater world's going on without me. I didn't particularly target, the entertainment industry at all. Right. I was in, oh my God, I almost said final callbacks. I was in last rounds of interviews at like Microsoft, other places. I worked at a startup. And then I got a call. And Mary McCall is my direct supervisor. She's the executive director. And she said, we have a need for your support. Do you want in? And I was in the middle of having an existential crisis about whether I was going to be able to use my new degree in a way that mattered to me personally, right? That was mission driven. I was like, oh God, do I have to sell out now? Like, what are my options? And that option just dropped out of the sky. And I was grateful to do it, right? That was exactly what I asked the universe for 2 years prior probably 3 years prior at that point, when I decided to get a master's in business. Please let me be able to develop a new skill set that will position me to protect actors and stage managers in their workplace and to have a more traditional lifestyle. And there it was. So
and there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear right now. One of the reasons that I think that story is so inspiring, especially in this very specific moment, is I know a lot of artists in Savannah and New York and Los Angeles, everywhere, that have this fear that they are losing the momentum on the thing that they did, the thing that they contributed to the theatrical arts. And I think there's this fear to jump and try any other part because they personally don't feel like they will be making a contribution anymore. And while obviously there's no way to weigh your former contributions as a performer against your current contributions as administrator, I think your story really points out to anyone that is fearful in this moment that there are so many ways to serve art, and there are so many ways to serve specifically the performing arts. And I wish sort of on a case-by-case basis that the fear that I see in so many of our collaborators and in their eyes could be tempered by hearing that what has worked, what you did has worked and has been has served your heart. I think. I don't want to speak for you, but it's like
you can continue to speak for me. That's phrased perfectly. I'm taking it.
Okay, well, good. Well, because I think there is that, it's kind of that God, I'm a dancer dances thing. It's that idea, the end of chorus line where the company says, I don't have a purpose when I'm done dancing. And I think that the virus has made us all confront needing to expand the avenues in which we serve the arts. Had you thought when you were training to be a general manager, had you thought then, or are you still considering sometime in the future being a GM for commercial theater, or did you have sort of a vision of what that part of your life could be, and do you want to get back to that, or are you sort of, or is what you're doing exactly what you were looking for?
Yeah. So when we say a general manager in this industry, we're talking about, right, the person who runs the building. But when I said I got an MBA in general management, I was over there talking in quant jock business school land, meaning that my degree is kind of overarching best practices for running any business, and particularly the people operations vertical of any business. Which is distinct from people have masters of business in finance. People have masters of business in marketing. Mine is general and focused on the people part. There's no part of me that has ever thought about being a general manager, but it might be fun. I have discovered that so I think the next thing for me is going to be something that allows me to use this love I have for negotiating, right? This thrill that I get from drafting contract language. Is that the nerdiest thing anybody ever said?
It's wonderful. I love it. I love reading them. One of my favorite parts of this job is reading the equity contracts. So I completely respect and understand that.
Yeah, right. And my classmates are like, oh my God, I can't believe she gets off on contracts. But I do. Thank you, Professor Nick Johnson. I really, really love that you can make your deal. You just have to be smart about how you make it. And I guess I hope that I will be in a position to make that deal for the artists and entertainers who are so vital to our wholeness as a community, right? Right now I get to do that, but that conversation is limited to the diversity and inclusion aspects, right?
Gotcha.
I don't know where I'll go, what I'll do next, but I know that I will get to negotiate and draft top to bottom in a way that makes sure entertainers have what they need to be their whole selves at work.
And in the meantime, I am honored that you took time out of your day to join us and talk about it here.
Sure thing. Yeah, I think what you're doing is a really fantastic way to help people still feel connected, right? So many of us are feeling super isolated these days, right? And so far away from the craft by which we defined ourselves. You guys, stop. I've said this twice already. I spent a year crying because what if I'm no longer an actor anymore? If I'm no longer an actor, I'm still a whole multifaceted, loving, valuable human being. And I totally get being committed to your art and your craft. I would push back against diminishing your sense of personhood to only your art or craft. And we see a lot of that, especially coming up now when people can't practice.
Mm-hmm. That was exceptionally said. That is like for not knowing that was going to be the question. That was phrased perfectly as if it was contract language. So, which is just further proof that you are doing exactly what you should. I am going to say goodbye to you and give you my best and thank you again. And I'm looking forward to our paths continuing to interact in these sort of fun, exciting, unexpected ways.
Absolutely. Thanks for inviting me. And thanks for doing this. I'll keep watching.
All right. We'll see you soon. That was actor and administrator Bliss Griffin, who perfectly crafted that last answer. And I want to point out Laura Dutton during that interview said, if we all did what truly served our hearts, the whole world would be served better. So many things can serve our hearts off stage as well as on stage. She also said, and she also said, I truly appreciate an expertly crafted contract. So Bliss, it's not just you. We'll be right back with Roger Moss after this message from not our sponsor.
Super golden crisp. Rocks in the box, rolls in the bowl, and the taste is solid gold.
All those golden parts are weak. Got a crunch just crisp and bold. Gets me moving and grooving. With a taste that's solid gold.
Post Super Golden Crisp cereal, part of this nutritious breakfast with a taste that's solid gold.
The first time that I heard our next guest sing, I stopped what I was doing to listen. And in the years since, I have stopped cold every single time he has opened his mouth to sing. It is a joy to hear our next guest perform. He is a singer, an administrator, a performer, and a kind human being. He's in the green room, and here he is, Roger Moss, everyone.
Hey, how are you, man?
I'm very well, Roger, and you, friend?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I love Bliss.
I thought you might. That was luck that you were programmed together. But when I realized what the show was, I thought you would enjoy that.
No, that's wonderful. You know, it's funny because, you know, as you know, I've been more on the administrative end, and for the last, oh my God, almost 15 years. And, you know, it's, what we have to understand is we're in the entertainment business, and as nonprofits, that's what I've been doing. We have to understand that, you know, that the nonprofit, there are two parts of it. There's not just the non. And too often we
and if there is, it doesn't last very long.
So you know, so that's been exciting. You know, I feel that I have. I've always known that I had both sides, that I had the performing side of me, and I also had the business side of me. And, you know, what I realized early on was I really like things on my terms. And what I love to do now is I sing on my terms. You know, I don't do a lot of club work. You know, I remember when I was first starting out, you know, those singing until 1 a.m, and, you know, that's, you know, for people who were inebriated, and some really appreciated, but,
yeah,
you know, you were basically background noise. It's wonderful now that I basically sing when I want to. And, you know, I'm able to sing with truth, which is the most important thing for me. I mean, you know, whatever art form is, it has to be truth. It has to be your truth. It's funny. There are some songs that I had to wait until I was celebrating the 40th anniversary of my 24th birthday to sing. So,
I was about to get. I was trying to figure out what math we were using. Yes.
But because yes, I musically I could sing them earlier, but I didn't know what I was singing about. And it's it's very funny. I work with children, and I've worked with children for a long time, and sometimes a kid will want to, especially teenagers who love musical theater, they'll want to do a number like Losing My Mind. And I'm like, honey, wait about 30 years. This is not about someone said something mean to you on Instagram. So it's fun. I get to do some really neat projects. Discover some new composers that I didn't know about, or come up with new ways. And I also get to serve on boards, and I'm very excited to be on the Savannah Rep board. We're gonna do some powerful things. So I'm sorry, I'm rambling. Go ahead.
I'm enjoying it. No, that was my favorite part of this show is putting on the same shirt every week and just listening to brilliant people talk to me. So that is all well and good. I did want to point out, you were talking about doing what you want as a performer, and I think everyone that has ever told me for the last 15 years that I needed to know you, to which I have always said, I already do. So I don't know what you want. I'm here. And then it's so interesting because now it's Mickey, which we're gonna get to. We're gonna be talking about her in a moment. But now it's everyone telling me I need to know Mickey, and I go, I already do. But for all those years that you people have been telling me that a universal thing people say about you is that you're an interpreter of the songs that you sing. You don't simply sing them; you interpret them for your audience. And I was flashing back when you were talking about the club gigs until 1 a.m. I remember being in a 90s band in Jersey, which paid a lot of money, and I would love to have some version of that job right now. But I remember there's no interpretation that you have to do, because all they want to hear is the closest vocal approximation you can do to the song they remember from the radio. And the thing is, if you try to turn a gig like that into what you want it to be, the audience tunes out and turns off, which I think is just so fascinating. Right. So it makes me very happy that you are at a point in your career where you choose what you want to interpret, and the audience is expecting and begging you to do that, and isn't tuned out, which is great.
Right.
I want to talk very briefly, because I know obviously a lot of people watching the video are going to know your work with Savannah Children's Choir, which is celebrating how many years in existence?
Oh gosh. What year is this?
This is still 2020, believe it or not.
14 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So I left the children's choir last year, last April. Those kids have gone on to do amazing things, and so.
And it's your birthday week.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
The timing of this show, it's that weird moment in our cultural history when almost none of my guests have anything to plug because there's so little happening, but you actually do, and you were very kind to appear on today's show, because almost exactly 24 hours from now is a massive concert. Tell me about it, and tell me who's going to be playing with you.
Absolutely. So it is my birthday cabaret, and I'm thrilled to have Mickey Sodergren, who I absolutely adore, and another person who can take you on a journey with the song. And also a former student of mine, I taught her when she was, from the time she was in junior high through high school and part of college. She is now a MFA student at SCAD. She is one of the honeybees, and her name is Danielle Smart. She will knock your socks off. The show is going to take so many turns. We have Mickey, who's also classically trained, and so Mickey will do some classical. She'll do some musical theater. Of course, we will have a Sondheim section. Yes, damn him, and love him, but words.
Thank you, everybody, for coming to the party.
Yes, and we are doing little. And also, Danielle's going to do some R&B, and of course, our musical director is Kim Steiner, who is one of the most amazing arrangers. I've been working with Kim for the last almost 3 years. Kim has this knack for pairing songs for me that just, wow. We'll have some Broadway, some jazz, a lot of American songbook, which is that's my thing. A spiritual, and a little bit of gospel, a little bit of patriotic music. It's we like for our shows to be an experience. It's I don't call them concerts. That's what we try to stay as close to true cabaret as possible. And it's interesting, you're talking about, my interpreting songs. I was really, I was honored to have been chosen for it's like a 10-day intensive cabaret workshop with Andrea Marcovici. And she brought so much of that out of me. I remember the first is so funny and everyone that participated in had the same experience. We all come in and we're all pretty good singers, and we all do our thing and we perform, and then basically Andreas, like, I didn't believe a word he sang. Right? I'm serious. Every one of us, after our first session, every one of us were in tears. We were all in tears, and it wasn't good tears. It was, oh my God, what am I doing? But what she was able to do was take us to that place of, okay, now that I've broken you down, we're going to build you back up. But one thing you must do, you must sing truth. And I've done that ever since. Sometimes my happy birthday is full of truth.
Life is too short to not tell the truth. It really is.
Exactly. It was so funny. I had a friend from college. I always remember her said, her phrase was, "The truth shall set you free. First it will piss you off, but it will set you free.
So just stick around long enough for it to come back around.
Exactly.
Now I created a small link that goes straight to your ticket page for the concert. So if you go to bit.ly/SRT Roger Moss, it goes straight to the ticket order. I have my ticket. It is digital because I'm in New York for a little longer, but I do want folks to know that much like many things right now, it's going to be a blended environment. So let people know what types of tickets there are still available.
Yes, so all of the tickets are still available. I encourage, we have tickets, we have $25 tickets, we have $35 tickets, $50 tickets, $60 tickets. We have virtual tickets, and I really want to stress, if you're not comfortable coming out, please buy a virtual ticket. We always use a full band. So I have a drummer and a bass player, and of course Kim, and we've got to pay them. And these guys have been out of work for a long time, and when you buy that virtual ticket, you're helping them. So it's going to be such a great show, and the lighting is amazing. The sound system. You've not been in Victory North yet, have you?
I have not. I'm so excited to.
Oh my God! Okay, well sound. So they have a Myers. Okay, so
say no more, Roger Moss. Say no more.
Right? It's like they have the Mac Daddy of sound systems. So, if you're at home listening to it virtually, put it on your stereo because it's.
I was going to say I had no idea before March of this year that this TV and the soundbar that I sort of splurged on. I had no idea how valuable they were going to be to my life, and I can't wait to put you on this television tomorrow night with the soundbar full volume. The Myers is going to come through real good. So that streaming ticket it's not going to be an iPhone turned horizontal. It's going to be.
Actually, Victory North bought a streaming system, so it is like a professional system. It's not, I rolled out of bed and turned my iPhone on. So
you're talking about my self-tape setup? Because I'm pretty sure that's mine. Talk about telling the truth. I have it. All of us with our self-tapes are having such a hard time turning an iPhone on and acting to it. It's oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited about the show. I had Ellie and Delette both on 2 weeks ago, and it has been filling my heart so much to have these incredible guests on, and then be able to say that they're serving on the first ever full generation of the rep board, because we are going to do some extraordinary things. And I love that Bliss was on the show, because obviously what was incredibly important to the bishops at the outset was having an equity relationship, having a union relationship for the theater, being collectively bargained, and it's something that that we're taking even more seriously in these very serious times. So I'm very grateful that all these different people from all these different parts of my life are all suddenly playing a part so beautifully in something we care about so much. So I'm grateful to you, Roger.
Thank you.
Yes. And tomorrow night we're going to all enjoy your voice. So yes, the link one more time is below. You can also just Google Roger Moss birthday concert. That's how I found my ticket this afternoon.
Or you can go to victorynorth.com. Yes.
Fantastic.
Wonderful. Yay.
And Roger, we talk all the time, so this is not goodbye forever. It's just goodbye for now.
I know. Can't wait to talk with you again after the show. All right. Love you, man.
Love you too, Roger.
Yeah. Bye.
I get to talk to people like these three people all the time. I feel incredibly lucky. That's Roger Moss. He's a performer and administrator, has been at the center of some of the most impressive things that Savannah has seen in the last 15 years and longer. And we're very honored to have him on the Savannah Rep Board. That meeting to ratify budget and season is next week, and we're hoping in November to bring you a very special OnStageOff at which we will release our season. My name is Ryan McCurdy. I want to talk to you about that season just for a moment because you know I can't end the show without talking about our theater for just a moment. We had an incredible anonymous donor give $500 for September and $500 for October as a matching gift. It is intended to bankroll and begin to subsidize our brand new Works program. I'm excited to say that we raised the $500 in matching gifts in September, and we are $75 from matching the October amount. Now, obviously, our anonymous donor is looking forward to writing that $1,000 check, and we would love to have that claimed. So if you have a few dollars, if you have a lot of dollars, if this is the first time you've seen OnStageOff or it's the 10th, please consider going to savannarep.org/ghostlight. Any year I could be saying that we need your money to stay afloat, and it would be true, but there has never been a time in which it has been a more honest phrase than this. We have a season that we are so excited to bring you. It's a season that we have been planning for many, many months because it was intended to have started rehearsals several weeks ago. So we have been taking our time to really make it perfect for you, our audience. So if you, our audience, has the ability, we'd love for you to give back. savannarep.org/ghostlight. I'm Ryan McCurdy. I'm the Executive Artistic Director. I have had some exciting emails today about some guests in our upcoming shows. So while I can't tell you who they are yet, please look on next Monday or Tuesday for the announcement of next week's OnStageOff. We're so excited for some of the guests that are coming and so grateful to the ones that already have. And that's it for today. So until next time, take it away, Mary Chiefo.
Till next time, great stories, great theater.
The Ghostlight, a single bulb left center stage after each performance, has traditionally served as a supernatural offering to those who came before us and those we have lost, to ensure that the theater, their theater, never goes dark.
That the magic of theater continues. Theaters from Broadway to the West End, Los Angeles to Savannah may be closed for now, but their ghost lights remain lit.
Our spirits remain hungry. Our responsibilities clear. We look at this as an opportunity, a chance to build on the work we've done.
A chance to embrace our theatrical roots and create new adventures.
What we do now paves the way for the years to come, for the Savannah Rep of the future.
We promise that the ghost light will burn brightly until it is safe to begin again.
It is our responsibility to carry on the traditions that precede us. We are Savannah Rep.
A home for great stories and great theater. The hands of the clock will move again, and this is not the end of the story.
It's a new beginning.
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 And we'll see you soon.